and welcome to Green Shoe Conversations. I'm Stephanie Cochran, the Executive Director for Green Shoe Foundation, and this is our episode 24. I'm excited you guys are joining us. Last week, we started kind of a new topic on gratitude, and this week, joining me with my team, I've got Mr. Stephen Brinkworth. How are you, Steve?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm good. And our clinical director, Miss Teresa Deck, is with us today. Hey, Teresa.
Hey.
I am so excited you're with us. Steve, you were with me last week with Rebecca, and we kind of started this topic about how, this time of year, it's November, Thanksgiving is coming. Everybody's always about, okay, what are we grateful for? What are we thankful for? And it seems to be that we only focus on that during this time. And so if you missed last week, go back and listen to it. But we kind of shared a little bit about how, as individuals, we view gratitude, Green Shoe with the model, kind of how all of us, look at extending gratitude. And it's not just a couple times a week or a couple weeks during the year, is it? No. And Rebecca ended our podcast with a question. And I thought I would start with that question because we didn't answer it. And she asked, what are we grateful for?
So I would love to start.
I'll let you. Who wants to go first? You go, Teresa.
So many things that I am grateful for as an individual and at work. And I am grateful that we get to lead Green Shoe retreats every week. Foremost comes to my mind, I am grateful for my family, even though I haven't gotten to see them near as much this last year. I'm so grateful that I can pick up the phone or get on a computer or the video chats on the phone. And I did that with my grandkids this morning. So I'm grateful for that connection, for technology that has kept us connected during this time of COVID and isolation. So those are just a couple of the things that I'm thankful for right off the bat. How about you, Steve?
I think there's some of the same for me. I'm really grateful for family as well. And it's been different this year. We haven't seen each other near as much. And I know the holidays will look different too. And I'm also grateful that we've kind of been forced to slow down in some ways. We don't have the same kind of activity and involvement. And so sometimes the holidays can be a stressful time, but slowing down as much as we have, I'm really grateful for the time and the presence that we have together. And so I'm also grateful for, we're in November and it is beautiful outside. I said that last week and it has continued and it's just gorgeous outside. So I'm grateful for the retreats that we get to lead at Green Shoe. It's amazing to see the healing that takes place in 5 days and to have the team that we have together. And I'm incredibly grateful for all of you as well.
Absolutely. How about you, Stephanie?
Well, and I'm going to sound just like a recording. I absolutely agree. I'm extremely grateful for my family, for my husband and my boys. And I'm grateful that we've had some time to spend together that we normally wouldn't have gotten some, one-on-one time and being able to have conversations and, watch movies. I'm definitely grateful, like you said, Teresa, for technology, though. I miss seeing my other family and being able to have the video chats and the Zooms, even though I can't be right there, we still have been connected. And it's funny how I think we've actually talked more now because we've set like those weekly Zoom meetings than we, did before. And I am so grateful that I work with people who we check on each other and we, ask how we're doing honestly. And I think I really appreciate how, as a team, we have been supportive of each other. And I love the work we do. And I love seeing the changes we make. But more importantly, I love how we support each other, especially through this difficult time. So there's a lot to be grateful for.
There are.
Teresa, when we talk about gratitude, though, how would you kind of describe it? Either through the model, and you talked a little bit about things that you were grateful for. I really wanted to kind of hear from your perspective.
Okay. Grateful is an attitude. I feel like it's a way of thinking and appreciating and being thankful, even for the tough stuff. Because the tough stuff is uh, what has made me me. It has made me grow. It has made me be strong. It has made me be courageous and brave. And I can be sad all at the same time and be afraid and still be courageous. And so I'm being grateful for and being thankful. I think thankfulness is probably my would probably be my definition of gratitude. Being thankful even in the hard times, appreciating what it brings to me, not only the pleasant stuff and the joy, but also the sadness and pain, because that's where I can grow. So I think that gratitude is it's a state of an attitude of being thankful for whatever we get.
Which I think is a little bit different because, again, a lot of times the things I see, again, be thankful for your family, for the good things, for joy. And we kind of touched on this last week, being grateful for the pain you go through, the challenges, being grateful for, I mean, can you imagine saying for Corona and COVID-19 and the quarantine and limitations, that we're having? So how can we get into that attitude of thankfulness for all things?
I know one of the quotes that we use, actually it's an affirmation that we use: every experience I have in life, even the unpleasant one, contributes to my learning and growth. So how can this time, or how can this feeling, or how can this experience, if we look at it with what opportunity does it give me instead of for me? So what opportunity? Because I can choose how I view what I'm experiencing, as an opportunity for growth or as a time for me to put on my pity party hat and sit by myself and sulk. So it's my choice how I'm going to accept what's coming in life.
So one of the things that we start every Monday with is a meditation that you do, but it is in a way to help people kind of get reframed and refocused on their gratitude and all of that. And I wanted you to do that for us because I know we talk a lot, but this is such a great thing that it's something that we can actually do to help us kind of get into that mindset. So Teresa, you're going to lead us through this meditation.
Okay.
And if you're listening, absolutely do this along with us. And then Steve and I are also, going to participate with that. So
and before we do that,
Mhm.
Steve was starting to say something. And so Steve, what were you going to say?
You were talking about what opportunities it holds for you. One of the things that I think about with that gratefulness and being aware of what information that pain or that fear holds for me. And so not just the opportunities, but what information might I be able to glean from that and learn from that and use for my own benefit and for my own growth.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Absolutely. So, okay. So Teresa, will you guide us through this meditation?
I will. So what I'm going to ask us to do is to be an observer of ourself. I want you to observe yourself, and I'd like you to settle in just a little bit. And if you need to close your eyes to settle in and pay attention what's going on inside, that's okay. You don't have to close your eyes. But I'm going to ask you to focus your attention internally. That means looking inside yourself, observing yourself. And I want you to notice what you're thinking, what feelings you're noticing, and what body physical sensations are coming up for you right now. Your thoughts, feelings, and physical sensations. You may notice some expectations about what's going to happen later today or tomorrow or this weekend. You may be preoccupied with lots of things going on in your life now. We all have lots of things going on in our life that are different right now. Just get curious about whatever shows up inside yourself. See if you can find out what is coming up for you. What is it holding for you? What information are your thoughts and your feelings and body, physical sensations? What is it holding for you? Notice it. Pay attention and observe your inner self. Maybe it's something familiar and maybe it's something new because you haven't taken the time lately to check inside with yourself. Whatever is coming up for you, whatever you're experiencing with those thoughts and feelings and body, whatever that experience is holding, see if you can extend some gratitude towards it, even if it's negative. I want you to notice how it responds to that gratitude that you just showed to it. How did it respond? How did you respond to that gratefulness for whatever you're feeling and thinking? Maybe it's something that will require you need to follow up on it. Maybe not. Whatever it is, just ask it to see if it's willing to give you space right now, just to be receptive and open to take in whatever it was trying to tell you. It has a message for you. Ask it for some room, just a little room, and acceptance and gratefulness for it showing up and telling you what it wanted to tell you. And when it feels right and complete for you, you can go back to the place where you are right now, and you can be aware of where you are. Open your eyes if you need to, and just pay attention. The difference that made in your body, in your thoughts, in your feelings towards yourself, when you accepted it with gratitude. So, what did you two notice?
One of the things that I noticed with body sensations, there's been a lot that you and I have talked about this week, and Stephanie and I have talked about this week. And I noticed that as I tuned into myself, my breathing was rather shallow. And so I took a nice, full, deep breath and was just present with the fact that I had been physically prepared for whatever might come my way. And so my breathing had changed. And so to be able to take that full deep breath and get back into the moment and back into the present was really helpful.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Grounded you to the present. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
You're on mute.
I did a good job putting the mute on, didn't take it off.
Okay. That's okay.
I was saying, I noticed, especially since we're recording this, you know, like you said, Steve, I'm kind of in that quick breath. And so it took me a minute. I had to get into my deep breathing and then quickly got in tuned, you know, with some feelings. And I have some pain today, some sadness. And so that wasn't planned, and I knew we were doing, this meditation, but it's so interesting as I kind of just stop and kind of be in it. Then as you were leading, Teresa, and you talked about, can you extend gratitude to this, kind of exploring that. And it hit me that I have that sadness, but I am so thankful that this person has opened up and talked to me, so that way we can kind of explore some of these things and that relationship. And so then my thinking kind of opens up. And it's funny, Steve, breathing then definitely deepens up and body relaxes, with that. So it's interesting how those are so connected.
Steve, when I heard you say it's like my body was bracing for something, and when I heard you say that, what I think about that, I'm going to use our talking listening boundary. What came up for me was that's how it kind of feels with everything right now, with COVID and with everything. We're bracing. What is going to be next? Who is going to get COVID next? What am I going to have to do? How am I going to have to do this? And so we're kind of bracing. So we're all kind of holding our breath. Our shoulders go up and we're not relaxed. But when we pay attention to what we're noticing, okay, I can feel safe. I'm safe right now, and breathe and be present. That's so huge. That bracing, that just made me think we're all in that. I'm braced for what's coming next. And to be able to relax and pay attention to what you're noticing and you're observing yourself. I love that. Peter Levine's observing yourself and paying attention to what's going on and showing gratitude for whatever it is, because it's got a message for you. Why am I bracing? Okay, that might not ever happen, so I don't have to worry about that. That might not ever happen. I don't have to worry about that. So that being grateful for, oh, I hear you and I'm paying attention, but I'm not going to focus on that right now. I'm going to let that go. So,
Teresa, I really love that phrase from Peter Levine, that I can be an active observer of myself. And in doing research, there's a word that's used when you have a combination of all the different articles and things that you're searching through a meta-analysis. And active observer of myself is almost like having a meta-observation of myself, my thoughts, my feelings, everything that's going on with my body, on outside of this room, outside of this space, that's also contributing to the way that I make sense of the world.
Yes.
That's a really helpful piece to think about, being an active observer and to be mindful about that. I'm not judging that. I'm just becoming aware.
Well, and one thing that you guys talk about, we talked about this too when we were doing the 5 core issues, is the gifts that our emotions give us. And so, when you talk about extending gratitude for pain, fear, I mean, it's because those emotions bring gifts to me. Fear, allows me to protect myself. And I need to be grateful for that protection.
Absolutely. Because when we can't protect ourselves, we allow ourselves to be a victim. So being able to be grateful for that fear, that there's a reason that I'm feeling fear. And so pay attention to that. What is that? So,
It's a very powerful tool.
It is.
Just being present and mindful and aware of your emotions and why they're there.
I think about, just the word gratitude and how that can get glazed over so quickly, but to have an active participation in that gratitude is such a powerful, powerful piece. Connecting to those gifts, each of those emotions. You mentioned fear, also getting in touch with that pain. And what we talk about with the gifts of pain, or there's healing, growth, and awareness. And so
Mhm.
I can get in touch with what that information is that that pain is trying to give to me, and
I,
really learn from it and use that in a healthy way.
I looked up Viktor Frankl's quote. I love his quote about our attitude. And he said, everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. I love that because it is a choice. That's what I said in my blog. Gratitude is a choice that we have to make. And we are the only ones responsible for making that choice. And it's a freedom. We have that freedom to choose. I can be grateful or I can be upset and cranky.
Right. And this is something we can choose every day, not just in November. And I think that's so important for people to hear, is developing that practice of gratitude, and looking inside, yourself. And like you said, Teresa, having that awareness, but making it being a daily awareness that we can grow from with that. So thank you so much for doing that with us, Teresa, and taking us through. And Steve, wow, thanks. I love your insights and everything that you bring to this. So anything else you guys want to share with gratitude?
I think it's important to practice this every day.
Mhm.
Like you mentioned at the beginning, it's not 2 weeks out of the year. It's not a specific time, but building it into our daily practice, and that it doesn't have to be only for the big things, but to really get in touch with everything, all of it. The sunshine, a little bit of wind. There's a cold front coming in later, means that I get to wear some really comfy clothes. So there's a lot of things that we can be grateful for, that I don't have to only focus on things that are large, but really make that practice of gratitude an everyday practice that includes all aspects of my day, aspects of my life.
And I do find myself more joyful because of that. I know that sounds weird, being grateful for some pain, some difficult things, just that my overall attitude is just this joyfulness that comes from that. And that's that healing part with all of that.
As you're mentioning that, I'm having another thought as we're thinking about this gratitude and where that joyfulness comes up in the use of it. One of the things that I've found really interesting and to be true as well, I'm forgetting exactly where I first heard this, but when we experience pain, that's a very human experience. When I have resistance to feel that pain, I experience suffering.
Mm.
Now, when I experience that pain and extend that gratitude, it doesn't mean that I don't experience pain. And just like you mentioned, I may experience joy at the same time. I have some different insights. So I'm shifting that away from that resistance and getting in touch with it, where they can be a flow and a movement of those emotions and experience.
Yeah. Well, thank you both for joining me and having this conversation. And again, Teresa, thank you so much. I'm ever grateful for your guidance and how you actually lead us through this each week. So we're excited. Again, tune in next week. We've got some Thanksgiving fun things coming up next week. And we will see everybody. If you need to get a hold of us, again, our email, info@greenshoe.org, or check out our website at greenshoe.org. And we'd love to hear any questions or topics you would like to hear, especially going into the holiday season and into the new year. So we will talk to everybody next week. And guys, thanks for joining me.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us.